Chapter 1 Reborn Child Mayan Maternity Hospital. Lin Xiaoqing was lying in the delivery room with her cumbersome body. Her palace mouth had already reached 3 fingers, but no one gave her painless beating. Every time a contraction takes her half-life. Hungry, thirsty, tired. There is still endless pain, wasting her only will. Auntie, help me. Xiaoran, please, help me. Li Suiying put her arms around her chest and looked at the person on the delivery bed coldly. Dr. Wang, why can't she still be born? I just opened 3 fingers, how can I get 10 fingers to give birth? Dr. Wang answered cautiously. How long does it take to open the 10 fingers? Lin Xiaoran asked impatiently. She was so impatient that this fat man would not live. It depends on personal physique. Look at your physique. Lin Xiaoran looked more gloomy when she heard it. Li Suiying frowned, want to get another shot of oxytocin. 3 shots have been taken, and it is useless to take another shot, only the maternal exerts force. The female doctor explained. Snapped. Hurry up, fat man. Lin Xiaoran heard it, and slapped Lin Xiaoqing's Ruha face with a slap. Lin Xiaoqing was contracting, trembling with pain all over her body, and the head of Lin Xiaoran's slap fan became stupefied, sobbing with pain. Trash, don't work hard, believe it or not, if I kill you, you shouldn't live in this world. The huge shame was accompanied by strong contractions. Lin Xiaoqing's moan was like a neigh, every time it seemed to be taken away by the of death. And what made her more distressed was that Li Suiying's mother and daughter had lied to her at all. Strong hard, fat man, do you know why you are so fat? Thanks to the whole milk powder containing additives that my mother purchased from abroad, what would happen if you died in the delivery bed because the fetus was too big? Ha ha ha. Ah. There was another contraction. But what made Lin Xiaoqing more painful was Lin Xiaoran's words. It turned out that everything for her good, for the good of the child, was all lied to her. Dad, save me, you poisonous women. Do you think your dad doesn't know? Haha, it's a pity that he doesn't care about you, the broom star who killed his biological mother. I tell you, give birth hard, otherwise I will let you die. Lin Xiaoran whispered in Lin Xiaoqing's ears, threatened. This weak and useless fat man deserves to be used by her all the time. Did it die? It's not okay, the fetal heart rate has risen to 180, and a caesarean section is necessary. The monitor sounded an alarm, and the doctor hurriedly reminded. What should I do? How can I explain that there is no wound in the caesarean section? Li Suiying was a little panicked. Mom, I don't have a scar on my lower abdomen. Who knows that she was cut? The doctor performed an operation on her. Lin Xiaoran finished speaking to the doctor and glanced viciously at the person on the delivery bed. The anesthesiologist is with the wife, I am afraid. The doctor was embarrassed. What are we afraid of? We only want children. But it's not hurry. Lin Xiaoran ordered coldly, and Dr. Wang had to quickly prepare for a caesarean section. A sharp scalpel separated Lin Xiaoqing's belly. There was no anesthetic, and the pain made her body convulse constantly. The life monitor kept sounding alarms, but no one paid any attention. Wow wow wow! Lin Xiaoqing lost consciousness when she finally heard the cry of the child. She only saw the blood flowing freely from her abdomen. A baby with a face was taken out of her abdomen by the doctor. Child! With a low murmur in her mouth, Lin Xiaoqing completely lost consciousness. Who would have thought that she was hurt to death? It hurts alive. What should I do? The mother is not breathing. He took the child out and wiped it clean, and Dr. Wang found that Lin Xiaoqing was not breathing. What are you afraid of? It is not normal for you to have children and die. People from Pei's family will arrive immediately and help me prepare. Lin Xiaoran urged. For a time, the delivery room was in turmoil, but Lin Xiaoqing was left unattended. No one noticed, the mother who lost her breath for 30 minutes suddenly opened her eyes. Double, the new book starts, ask for recommendation tickets, ask for collection, ask for comments. Welfare activities, check in the new book for half a month, vote 4 recommended votes a day, publish a book review with more than 5 crosses, you can receive 100 book coins, call me in the group, limit to the top 100, OK. Welfare group, 4514872226 group. Chapter 2 Suture the wound it hurts. Heart-piercing pain. This is Xiaqing's first feeling when she wakes up. After 48 hours of non-stop work, Xiaqing died suddenly in the operating room. As a genius surgeon who is well known in Jin City, Xiaqing has almost never rested for 3 years. Sudden death is not unexpected. As the saying goes, why sleep for a long time before you die, you will sleep long after you die. This sentence has always been Xiaqing's motto, but she never expected that after the sudden death of consecutive operations, not only did she not sleep, she also lay on the hospital bed. To be precise, it is the delivery bed. Severe pain flooded into Xiaqing's brain along with the memory of the original owner. She thought that her death was tragic enough, but she did not expect that this one in the delivery bed was worse than her. Turned out to be painful. Looking at the unstitched wound after the cesarean section, Xiaqing's eyes burst out with a fierceness, struggling to sit up, but the wound started to ooze blood again. It hurts. Xiaqing has never felt so painful in her life. The patient in bed 3 died due to dystocia. The family members asked to be sent directly to the morgue. The directors sighed, ah. The nurse in charge was talking, and suddenly saw the patient on the delivery bed staring at her and screamed in fright. What's the matter? The nurse next to her looked at the colleague's gaze, shaking with fright. No, isn't it dead? Come here. Xiaqing endured the severe pain and pointed to one of the nurses to order. The nurse was terribly scared, but with Shang Xiaqing's cold eyes, an invisible pressure made her step forward involuntarily. You, what are you doing? Help me stitch up. After Xiaqing finished speaking, she looked at another female nurse who was trembling with fright. Go get the anesthetic. I won't. She is just a nurse. Follow the steps I said. Xiaqing didn't care, pointing to the things on the cart. First squeeze out the lochia, and then sew it from the innermost layer. The nurse wanted to say no, but I don't know why after looking at the mother, she involuntarily picked up the needle and tremblingly followed the steps she said. Waiting for another nurse to bring the anesthetic, the lochia has been squeezed out here, and the stitches are started. The original owner is very fat, and the accumulation of fat has brought huge difficulties to the suture, and the pain is doubled even with the use of anesthetics. 7 layers. Caesarean section requires 7 layers of stitches. It was the first time for the nurse to stitch up the wound more than 3 times slower than normal doctors. 2.5 hours, when the knot is over, Xiaqing's whole body seems to be fished out of the water. She lay back on the delivery bed, breathing heavily. The nurse holding the needle looked at the crooked and twisted wound, and tremblingly asked Xiaqing, how to tie the knot? Give it to me. Xiaqing reluctantly braced herself to tie the knot. Put away the needle, push me back to the ward. She was in terrible pain, she collapsed all over the bed, and fainted after saying this. When she wakes up again, she will see the snow-white walls all around, and the familiar smell of disinfectant. Moved her body a little, and the familiar pain came again, letting Xiaqing know that the previous scene was true. She was really born again on an obese woman, and she personally directed the nurse to suture the wound on the body. After sorting out the memories in her mind, Xiaqing already knew her situation. The original name is also Xiaqing, but the surname is Lin Xiaqing. Only 19 years old this year, just admitted to medical university. In order to cling to the second youngest of Pei's family, her stepsister calculated the other party by mistake and made the original owner have a relationship with the other party, and then took the opportunity to replace the original owner. Unexpectedly, it was discovered that the original owner was pregnant 3 months later. The stepsister was furious and made a plan and threatened the original owner to give birth to her child. The original owner was afraid that the other party would tell his father about her unmarried pregnancy, and he even agreed to leave the painful and depressing home in order to go to university smoothly. But the vicious mother and daughter took the opportunity to use various means to make the original owner gain more than 100 kilograms when the original owner was pregnant. First, he was afraid that the original owner would be recognized by Xiao Pei, and wanted to take the opportunity to kill the original owner. Stupid! Xiaoqing cursed all the way, both distressed the original owner and felt that she was stupid and hopeless. Her stepmother and sister-in-law are obviously not kind people. She has been bullying and torturing her at home, but she still believes them, but she ended up in a painful end. And the father of the original owner, because the original owner's mother died of dystocia, blamed the original owner, and has always been partial to the vicious mother and daughter. So the death of the original owner, although not directly related to her father, was also the result of his connivance. Clarified her thinking, Xiaoqing already knew what she should do. Different from the original owner, she has never been a bully. Born in a medical family, he is proud of his talents. He is already well known at the age of 17. Even Yanjing's patriarchs have to call Miss Xia politely when they see her. How can others tolerate bullying? Even if she is not her anymore, since she now has this body, then we must be responsible for this body for ourselves. Of course, she will avenge the original owner's hatred. The next day, Xiaoqing endured the pain and climbed out of bed to go to the bathroom. Looking at the girl's plump body in the mirror, she kept her brows from frowning again and again. As a once famous surgical master, Xiaoqing is a medical genius, as well as her enviable beauty and figure. She is an extremely self-disciplined person and has never gained weight since she can remember. The body of the original master. The obsessive-compulsive disorder Xiaoqing saw in the mirror came out, and she wanted to cut off the fat little by little. It seems that revenge is very important, and it is imminent to get rid of meat. Chapter 3 Collect interest first. That fat guy is not dead, he is really dead. Boom! Vicious female voice accompanied by kicking at the door. Xiaoqing, who was looking in the mirror, trembled, which was the original instinctive stress response. It can be seen how deeply she fears Lin Xiaoran's mother and daughter, and the fear of the dead body is still there. The corner of Xiaoqing's lips in the mirror evoked a cold smile. Since it is delivered to the door, I will charge some interest first. Well, you are looking in the mirror? You are not afraid of seeing too much and you are sick and unable to eat? Hey, that's right, this way you can lose weight. Lin Xiaoran sneered at Xiaoqing with arms folded. Xiaoqing lowered her head to cover her cold eyes, her body trembled slightly. Xiaoran, how can you treat me like this? Then what should I do to you? Fatty pig, I warn you, Xiao Pei has taken the child, you'd better sew your mouth tightly as if dead. Lin Xiaoran knew that Lin Xiaoqing was not dead, and specially warned. But, can I see my child? After all, I was born in October. Xiaoqing frowned involuntarily when she asked. This is not what she wanted to ask, but the instinct of the body. Desire. This body wants to see its own child. What your child? Lin Xiaoran stared, looking at Xiaoqing insidiously. I'll warn you again, that was born in October of my pregnancy. You dare to say that I have 100 ways to kill you. After speaking, he slapped Xiaoqing's face. Xiaoqing just bowed her head to avoid her slap, and nodded whimsically. Then you promised my terms. As long as you are obedient, I will consider it. Lin Xiaoran saw Xiaoqing's cowardly stupidity, and only replied arrogantly when it was just a coincidence. I will. Seeing Xiaoqing weighs contempt, Lin Xiaoran's eyes became more contemptuous, and Li Suiying walked in at this time. The news has been posted. As long as the results of the paternity test come out, I believe Xiao Pei will come to propose marriage soon. Really? Lin Ziaran changed his viciousness, a touch of spring affection appeared on her beautiful face. Of course, you have to believe in Mom. Li Suiying was proud. Lin Ziaran no longer cared about Xiaqing, turned around and walked out. Xiaqing saw the timing, and threw a thin needle out, which happened to hit Lin Ziaran's knees. Ah! Lin Ziaran, who had just walked to the door, had her knee numb, and she fell straight to the ground. In a panic, she grabbed Li Suiying, who was wearing high heels. Li Suiying hurried to help her daughter, she didn't want to slip under her feet and fell to the ground. Boom! The two landed heavily, their painful complexions distorted, and before they got over, they saw Xiaqing's fat face full of worry, and shouted in panic, "Ziaran, Aunt Li!" Because the body was too fat, instead of grabbing the two of them, he fell heavily towards them. Don't! Ah ah ah! Accompanied by a notion, followed by a burst of ghost crying and wolf howling. Xiaqing's fat body was pressed against Lin Ziaran's slender calf, and he drew out the pinfitting and got up in a hurry, but she was half fat and sat down heavily. Click! Is the sound of fracture. Ah! I am going to kill you. Lin Ziaran wailed in pain again. Stupid pig, I want to kill you. Li Suiying under Lin Ziaran was also uncomfortable. Xiaqing got up in a panic, but she was too heavy to sit down again. Sorry Ziaran, sorry Aunt Li. Ah, doctor, doctor. Until Lin Ziaran's mother and daughter were carried away by the doctor, Xiaqing still lowered her head to apologize only, and no one saw the sly smile flashing under her eyes. It's just a broken bone, but it's just a little bit of interest, she charged. The real good show has just begun. Chapter 4 is a pity a short-lived ghost, it hurts. The wound of the cesarean section was torn open, and a thin layer of sweat was on Xiaqing's body. I was sitting too hard just now, pulling on the wound, and oozing bright red blood. I didn't stand up for a long time, and no nurse paid any attention to her. Xiaqing sat at the door of the ward, with Lin Ziaran's ghost crying and howling voices still lingering in her ears, a playful sneer evoked at the corners of her lips, and she looked up and saw an expensive man walking against the light. The golden light hit the man in the afternoon, he couldn't see his face, and his temperament was outstanding. Is really amazing when it gets closer, the temperament is pure and noble, the facial features are as refined as a sword, a pair of amber eyes are surrounded by a golden circle because of the afternoon light, like cat eyes, but more narrow and long. Handsome and clean, unlike mortals. Even if she has seen countless beautiful men in her previous life, Xiaqing has never seen such a good-looking man. Could not help but startled. "Madam, please let me." The clear tone, with a natural laziness, knocks on the eardrum, which is very nice. Condescending, but gentleman and elegant. It's just that those beautiful eyes fell on Xiaqing Heng's straight and bent legs in the aisle, and her eyebrows were curled. It took a long time for Xiaqing to realize that the lady in the other party's mouth was her. He looked at the spacious aisle and then at his legs across the aisle. "Oh!" Xiaqing answered, busy but did not get up. Every movement of her fat body will involve the wound. Painful, Xiaqing forgot that the beauty was on her side. She groaned in pain, and a thin layer of sweat leaked from her forehead, subconsciously asking for help. "Can you help me?" After speaking, I felt that I was abrupt and beautiful. "Aha!" the man said again, and a cold breath came out abruptly behind him. At first glance, he was a middle-aged man practicing jiazi. He stepped forward to align the fat leg that Xiaqing was bending. "Second young master, please." Xiaqing, who has experienced even rebirth, watched the man gracefully step over her lap, losing her favor. "Are you sick?" Without waiting for the other party to reply, he added, "Heart disease." The man paused, and looked sideways at Xiaqing. With his amber eyes, the backlight lost the golden halo, revealing an introverted and calm gloomy feeling, but he did not diminish his beauty. "It's just that the skin is too pale and sick." The light fell on Xiaqing's body, as if it were substance, but Xiaqing just looked at each other calmly. It is strange in her heart that her perception seems to be stronger than in the previous life. Is this a golden finger after rebirth? Second young master. The subordinate named Aha glanced at Xiaqing dissatisfiedly, and said in a low voice. Pei Zhengyang retracted his gaze from the pair of black and bright peach blossom eyes, and walked towards the ward in front. Xiaqing shook her head, got up with difficulty and returned to the ward, wet her back with sweat, and the wound became more painful. Get rid of the beauty face that had no moral character just now, Xiaqing would care more about her situation. The original owner's child has been picked up. Lin Ziaran wants to take this one step to ascend to the sky. Is it expensive for mothers and children? If it were the original owner, Lin Ziaran might have a dream come true. Unfortunately, she is Xiaqing, and she wants to step on her to the top and dream. But this body... Xiaqing looked at the fat of the original owner. The obsessive-compulsive disorder doubled her discomfort, but the pain just made her sober. This body is currently breastfeeding and is very unsuitable for weight loss. On the contrary, she had to take care of it for 100 days. Breastfeeding is the only opportunity for a woman to change her physique. Although she graduated from Yale Cardiac Surgery, she came from a family of Chinese medicine and has many years of surgical career. She has not forgotten the knowledge about Chinese medicine in her bones. Whether it's recuperating the body or losing weight, it takes time. With a plan in her heart, Xiaqing put up with the flesh, and tried to search the origin of the child from the memory of the original owner, but found that the original body was very resistant to this matter, so that she only knew the other party from the Li's mother and daughter. It was young Master Pei, who didn't even have any impression of his appearance. As for how Lin Ziaran replaced her, it became even more a mystery. But these are not important. Xiaqing believes that as long as Lin Ziaran is there, the mystery will always be revealed. But Lin Ziaran was afraid that she would not get any better during the 100 days she has been raising her body. In the senior ward, Lin Ziaran yelled as soon as she got out of the operating room, "Mom, I want to kill her." He put a heavy cast on his leg, and the touch was painful. Lin Ziaran's beautiful face was slightly hideous because of anger and hatred. Calm down with Ran Ran, this is a hospital after all. If you want to clean up the fat man, there will be opportunities in the future, but now the important thing is Xiao Pei. Li Suiying was also injured, and endured the pain to comfort her daughter. Lin Ziaran heard the ferocious expression of Pei Xiao. Calm down, will Xiao Pei really come? Of course. Li Suiying nodded confidently. Lin Ziaran thought of Pei Zhenjiang's handsome and elegant face that was more beautiful than a woman, and his face was flushed. Mom, you look at that slut, don't let Pei see it less. What are you afraid of? Xiao Pei knows that it was you that night, not to mention that she is so fat that Lin Qiaovu may not recognize it. Li Suiying smiled triumphantly. Lin Ziaran was finally satisfied, but thought of something. Unfortunately, it's a short-lived ghost. No. Li Suiying echoed regretfully. At this time, the gurney had been pushed to the door of the ward. Lin Ziaran heard the nurse on the side take a breath, and raised her head to face a crown-like face. Pei. Xiao Pei. Chapter 5. Want to marry me? Picturesque and flowery. Is the man in front of me? Lin Ziaran was perplexed in her obsession. She didn't know how much the man listened to what she had just said. You sent the news. Pei Zhengyang looked at the woman on the gurney, thinking of the great gift he received yesterday. Amber eyes rarely showed a trace of annoyance. I don't understand what you are talking about. Lin Ziaran whispered timidly, wondering why the man in front of him was obviously restrained by gentlemen, and he didn't even feel aggressive when asking questions, but she was scared, and her voice was a little bit tinged. Guilty conscience. When she replaced Lin Ziaking and pretended to wake up from his arms, Xiao Pei didn't treat her tenderly, but I don't know why it was only a few days before she fell cold, and she never touched her. Later, Xiaqing became pregnant. She didn't know if Pei's family would have an unidentified child. She was even more worried that Pei's family would investigate herself when she knew about it. Then she found out that Lin Xiaoqing had arranged the next thing and caught Pei's family by surprise. Thinking about it, the expression on Lin Xiaoran's face is even more innocent, which is a bit pitiful. Want to marry me? Pei Zhengyang didn't watch the woman's clumsy performance. He thought of seeing the bright red on the white sheets, but also thought about taking responsibility, but unfortunately. Pei Zhengyang looked at the artificial woman in front of him and twisted his eyebrows. Lin Xiaoran's face was pink. Sao Pei, do you want or not? He tapped the back of the other hand inadvertently with his distinct fingers. Those who knew him would know that it was impatience, but the tone was still clear and sweet, and even the interruption of the other party did not appear abrupt. Think. I don't know why Lin Xiaoran felt an invisible oppression, and she realized that if she continued to talk, the man in front of her might immediately turn around and leave, opening her mouth like a gambling. Okay, wait for my notification. Pressed down this sentence, Pei Zhengyang stopped looking at Lin Xiaoran, turned and walked in the direction of the elevator, as if just talking about the weather today, not the marriage event. Lin Xiaoran was there, and for a long time she slowly turned her head to look at her mother. Mom, what did Xiao Pei mean? He promised to marry you. Li Suiying pushed Lin Xiaoran into the ward with a trembling voice, and he obviously couldn't believe it. Mom! Lin Xiaoran suddenly exclaimed. Li Suiying hurriedly stepped forward. What's the matter? What's the matter? I'm going to marry Pei Zhengyang. I'm going to be the young woman of the Pei family. I'm going to be the richest person in Jinji, no, the richest person in the country. Lin Xiaoran excitedly forgot the injury on her leg, and her face was full of nowhere. Placed with excitement and joy. The Pei family is a century-old family in Jin City. It has a wide range of industries, especially in the pharmaceutical and medical fields. Hospitals controlled by Pei style are spread all over the country, and the financial resources are unimaginable. The Lin family is just a pharmaceutical company under the Pei family. And Pei Zhengyang is the only grandson of the Pei family's main house. He is outstanding in appearance and superior in intelligence. It is a pity that he is a sick child and has a bad heart. It is said that he will not survive 30 years, but this year he is 20 out of 5. Thinking of marrying Pei Zhengyang, everything in the future of the Pei family is his own. Lin Xiaoran's eyes are red because of excitement, and she feels that her decision to replace Lin Xiaoqing and force the fat man to give birth to a child is too correct. Li Suiying was also blushing when she heard her daughter's words, as if she was already the mother-in-law of Pei's eldest son. Elevator entrance. The moment Pei Zhengyang stepped in, a pair of shiny peach eyes appeared in his mind, and the sentence "You are sick? Heart disease." For many years no one dared to be so presumptuous in front of him, but how did she know that her heart was not good? Second young master, do you really want to marry Miss Lin? Aha thought of the affectionate and scheming mother and daughter, a little annoying, and brought back the distracted Pei Zhengyang. Okay. But she counts you. The Pei family needs a child, and the child needs a mother. Pei Zhengyang replied lightly. It was an accident that the woman climbed into bed at the beginning. It was even more accidental that the other party gave birth to his child, but the Pei family valued the result more than the process. More importantly, Lin Qiaovu's Fuking Pharmaceutical invested 5% of Pei's shares with technology 18 years ago. This share has not moved for many years. Now Pei's internal and external troubles, marrying Lin Xiaoran can reduce this part of the risk. So Lin Xiaoran wants to marry him. Mr. Chapter 7, we meet again. I don't look at what he is like, and I want to take care of the noble son to borrow money. MD sees that I don't take care of you. The driver heard Pei Zhengyang saying that he didn't borrow, and he mocked Xiaoqing and stepped forward. Xiaoqing frowned. Aha! The melodious male voice couldn't hear the joy or anger. Yes, the second young master. A Haikian kicked the driver along the way. Need money? To death. No. No, no. The driver didn't get up for a while in pain, and was trembling with Aha's iron and blood. Pei Zhang lifted up and patted the non-existent dust on his hands, glanced at Aha and said disgustedly, "Are you a gangster?" Aha drew out a wad of cash and threw it on the driver, giving it another kick. "This is compensation, get out." The driver turned pale with pain, grabbed Jian and climbed into the car, slammed on the accelerator and turned to the road, but disappeared. Aha looked at the second master. "Isn't it a gangster now? Xiaqing. Sven scum." However, although the method was wrong, it helped her in the end. Xiaqing got up and said, "Thank you, cure." "No need." Pei Zhengyang interrupted Xiaqing. Although he didn't know why the other party knew that he had a heart problem, he should be treated as an excuse for help. He didn't think that the professors and experts of Pei's hospitals could not perform surgery that the woman in front of him could do. Not to mention that he is not helping her. Xiaqing naturally realized that the man did not believe her, and thought of her current physical condition, that she was indeed unable to operate. She sighed slightly, and the other party had gotten into the car gracefully. Black Earl drove slowly into the villa area. Xiaqing looked at the shocked security guard. "Can I enter?" "This." Thinking of the kick the driver had just suffered, the security guard hesitated and didn't dare to make any trouble. "Go in." Xiaqing entered the villa area and walked towards 28 villas following Lin Xiaqing's memory. The community is very large, most of the villas are single-family houses, and the greening rate is very high. In April, the lilac blooms enthusiastically, purple with white and white with pink. At noon, the taste of summer is in the spring, which is very beautiful. Xiaqing walked for more than 20 minutes before arriving at Lin's house, and he was the Black Earl who had only seen the car in sight. Raised his eyebrows and rang the doorbell. Waiting for a long time before a servant came over, opened the door and saw Xiaqing. Her face was very bad. "Where is the beggar from?" "Below." "Close the door after her speaking." Xiaqing stepped forward and pressed one foot against the door, pressing the servant's wrist with her white hand. "Auntie Kui, don't you recognize me?" "Lin Xiaqing." You, let me go." Wang Kui was frightened by Xiaqing's actions, especially the cold light in her eyes, which made her panic. "Where is the second young lady of the Lin family who insulted?" "Then trouble Aunt Kui." Xiaqing smiled, but there was not the slightest temperature in her eyes. This person in front of her was a servant of the Lin family and a distant relative of Li Suiying. He has bullied Lin Xiaqing since entering the Lin family. She was pregnant. At that time, Li's mother and daughter had every opportunity to marry a wealthy family. It was this Aunt Kui who cared for her. How could she not know Lin Xiaqing? It must be that she is not convenient to enter today. But she wants to enter. Wang Kui thought of his wife's instructions and did not move. Xiaqing used his hand slightly, and focused on the fragile bones of the human body. Wang Kui cried out in pain, "Ah, you are so stupid, it hurts." Click! Before the hooves scolded Wang Kui's wrist was dislocated. Xiaqing took the opportunity to step on her toes, and then slightly pushed and let go. Wang Kui fell on the blue stone brick, howling with pain, and alarmed the people in the villa. Xiaqing clapped her hands in disgust. "Living room. What's the matter?" Lin Qiaovu glanced sideways at Li Suiying displeased, then turned to look at Pei Zhengyang respectfully. "The servant is not sensible," so Pei Xiao laughed. "Nothing." Pei Zhengyang looked cold and couldn't see much emotion. Li Suiying got up hurriedly. "I'll go take a look." "Dad, Aunt Li, I'm back." Without waiting for Li Suiying to go out, Xiaqing opened the door of the living room and shouted loudly. "You!" Li Suiying subconsciously glanced at Pei Zhengyang with Yu Guang, and looked at Xiaqing nervously. "Why are you back?" "My home, why can't I go back?" Xiaqing smiled brightly at Li Suiying. but it was a pity that he was too fat, and his face was full of flesh. Fortunately, the skin was white and tender, but it was not worthless. Auntie is so pleasantly surprised. Li Suiying reacted quickly, scolding Wang Kui as useless in her heart, but approached Xiaqing's fat hand affectionately on her face. Lin Kuovu was a little surprised, looking at Lin Xiaoqing, who was at least 200 kilograms. How did you become like this? The school food is very good. Xiaqing shook Li Suiying's hand back, lowered her head and curled her lips. Lin Kuovu said, I don't know how to go home during the winter vacation. Why do I come back now without the holiday? It's embarrassing to eat myself like a pig at 18. Xiaqing's mouth twitched, ignoring the father's anger, and his eyes fell on the man who had been interested since she came in. Sir, we meet again. Yes. Pei Zhengyang was surprised. Hearing Lin Kuovu's words, the woman in front of him was 18 years old. She is still a young lady from the Lin family, studying outside, but the last time he ran into her was at Mayan Hospital. How did you know Pei Xiao? Seeing Lin Xiaoqing greet Pei Zhengyang, Li Suiying asked out of control, holding Xiaqing's hand very hard. Xiaqing whispered, Auntie, you hurt me. It was already clear in his heart that the man in front of him who seemed to be beautiful but unsympathetic and fortunate was the father of Lin Xiaoqing's child, the man Lin Xiaoran tried to climb. Auntie, I know Xiao Pei. What are you excited about? Are you afraid that I will steal a man from my sister? After saying that, Xiaqing looked at everyone innocently. If this is a beautiful woman, it would be a bit pitiful, but Xiaqing is like that. Putting a big pile here, Li Suiying said in a serious manner that she was worried that she and Lin Xiaoran would a man. How weird it was. But Li Suiying has a guilty conscience. Since you know that it is your sister's fiancé, then put your mind away. Oh, I just lost my mobile wallet, and I don't have money to pay for the fare. Young Master Pei helped me a little bit. You also saw how I look like now, why would I fight with my sister? As long as you know. Enough. Lin Kuovu interrupted the two and looked at Pei Zhengyang apologetically again. My daughter is young and ignorant, please Hai Han. Very interesting. Pei Zhengyang looked at Xiaqing's sly eyes that were completely different from the expressions on his face, as well as their conversation just now, and elegant answers. Lin Kuovu laughed loudly, but lightly reprimanded Xiaqing, I'm not going upstairs yet. Shameful. I don't know that Lin Xiaoran, who had been carefully taken care of, even took the plaster in advance, was helped by the servant and walked down. Before the smile on his face was enlarged, I saw the obese Xiaqing Zheng walking in the direction of Pei Zhengyang. Fatty. Xiaqing. Sister Xiaoran. Xiaqing paused, looking up in confusion and aggrieved, did you just want to call me fat? I do not have. Dad, do you also think I am too fat and ugly? When I entered the community today, the security did not let me in. Just now Aunt Kui said that I was a beggar. But I know you don't like the way I was before. Reminds you of mother, Xiaqing choked up when she said that. But the bottom of his eyes is cold. Who will not sympathize with Bo? Lin Kuovu was stunned, thinking of his once loving wife, and then seeing her daughter, because she was afraid of seeing things and thinking about others, and ruining herself like this. For a moment, he thought of his wife and the reprimands he had just given to her daughter. He was sad and blamed. Lin Xiaoran's gaze also lost the kindness of her talent. Pei Zhengyang watched this fat lady act, but what she was thinking about was her name Xiaqing. Which Xiaqing? Double, Rob, hand in your recommendation ticket quickly. Chapter 8 I will get back everything that belongs to you. Lin Xiaoran was dazed by Lin Kuovu's gaze. Li Suiying quickly sat down and took her husband's arm. Xiaoran was too surprised just now. I didn't recognize Ching Ching. You don't know how much Xiaoran respects her sister in these years. Before Lin Kuovu could speak, he reprimanded Lin Xiaoran, hurry up and apologize to your sister. Sorry Ching Ching, I blamed you for not recognizing you just now. I missed you. Lin Xiaoran was caught off guard by Xiaoqing before she lost her mind. This time she saw her mother dealt with her and quickly apologized, her head lowered and her pretty face was full of guilt and self-blame. The posture is very full. Sure enough, Lin Qiaovu's gaze softened. He thought that Lin Xiaoran was indeed clever and sensible on weekdays. At the moment, he thought she really didn't recognize Xiaoqing, and then thought that Xiao Pei was there and waved his hand. Xiao Pei. Looking up again, Lin Xiaoran's eyes were affectionate, and Pei Xiao screamed in lingering affliction. Xiaoqing listened to goosebumps, and looked at the beautiful man who had been watching the show on the sofa with some playful eyes. Pei Zhengyang felt the two women's different eyes, and stood up gracefully. Mr. Lin, things are set, there is no problem with the engagement on June 23, right? No, no. Lin Qiaovu hurriedly got up. Although it is disgraceful to have a child out of wedlock, it is possible to climb up to a century-old wealthy family like Pei's family. What kind of shame is this? What's more, the other party also came to propose marriage personally. President Lin is polite. Pei Zhengyang replied faintly, showing the style of a young master Pianjia, coupled with that enchanting handsome face, and everyone else looked at him for fear of tarnishing the other party. Li Suying still wanted to invite Pei Zhengyang to have a meal in Lin's house, but was politely refused, so she hurriedly helped Lin Xiaoran to go to see him, but when she turned her back to Lin Qiaovu, she gave Xiaoqing a fierce look. Xiaoqing shrugged non-committal, and his eyes fell on the tall King Jun back. 2 months later, Lin Xiaoran was going to be engaged to Pei Zhengyang. It seems that she must do something. Carefully, a smile flashed through Xiaoqing's eyes, and she turned upstairs. Following memory, Xiaoqing entered Lin Xiaoqing's room, the room with the worst daylight in the corner of the whole villa, and Lin Xiaoran's current room was Lin Xiaoqing's original room. Unfortunately, in the first week after Li Suying's mother and daughter moved in, they induced the original owner to give the guest Lin Xiaoran to the guest Lin Xiaoran on the grounds that the owner wanted to be generous, just to win a sensible compliment from his father. From then on, the dove occupied the magpie's nest. Xiaoqing looked at this small bedroom. There were a lot of messy things in it. Like a warehouse, only the 1 wide small bed in the corner belonged to the original owner. The light-colored and grey sheets, and the dim and damp bedroom, indicate the grey, weak and poor life of the original owner. He felt tight and painful for no reason. Xiaoqing covered her heart. Are you sad? No one responded to her. Xiaoqing's heart was even more bored, and she stepped forward to open the curtains and looked at the family of 3 who were seeing off the guests downstairs. Don't worry, I will get back everything that belongs to you. Pei Zhengyang felt a gaze, and he saw only a narrow window from his side. There was no figure in the sun, but he was sure in his heart that the fat girl named Xiaoqing was standing there. Thinking of the two meeting 3 times, the woman is obviously fat and unremarkable, but she has a pair of firm, calm or sly peach eyes, very symmetrical peach eyes, and the pair of fat but symmetrical strangely. Leg. Well, obsessive-compulsive disorder looks very comfortable. Waiting to get on the car, Pei Zhengyang ignored Lin Qiaovu and the mother and daughter's hospitality and closed the car windows, and told Aha, check Lin's house, and Xiaoqing. Mentioning this name, Pei Zhengyang shook his mind slightly. The legendary dazzling woman who broke multiple records of cardiac surgery, died suddenly on the operating table. How could he associate her with the fat woman just now, and he couldn't help but shook his head. Chapter 9 Stepmother seeks Xia clearing account. A rough knock on the door, with obvious anger. Xiaoqing raised her eyebrows. This is the time to settle the accounts. Open the door, fat man, don't think I don't know you are in it, just pretend it. Li Suying cursed under her throat without opening the door for a long time. Xiaoqing did not respond. Wang Kui, knock me away. Thinking that this fat man almost ruined Xiaoran's good deeds today, and made Lin Kuo suspicious of their mother and daughter, he was very annoyed. Yes, ma'am. Wang Kui's wrist was almost squeezed by Xiaoqing, and he fell heavily, resenting it, and slammed his whole body heavily in response. The door opened suddenly. Boom! Ah! Wang Kui slammed into the air, and fell to the ground unsuspectingly. His big face hit the mop handle randomly thrown in the messy bedroom, and there was a horrible cry. Auntie Kui, what is this? Xiaoqing deliberately yawned, and looked up at Li Suying innocently and asked. Li Suying looked at Wang Kui who had fallen horribly, and then looked at his tired face, as if Xiaoqing had just woken up, not suffocating. Did you deliberately? Auntie, I don't understand what you are saying. Xiaoqing rubbed his fat face, still a little sleepy. You. Li Suying was speechless, her eyes gloomily looked at the fat man in front of her, as if she wanted to see a bit of fraud from her face, but she didn't see anything. It's because she thinks too much. For so many years, this little has been the only one who followed her, and was so stubborn that she wouldn't be able to learn to be smart after giving birth to a child? Auntie, are you here to ask me about knowing Pei Xiao? Do you still have the face to mention Pei Xiao? Li Suying, who was still thinking, heard the word Pei Xiao, instantly panicked. It's really just a misunderstanding. Xiao Pei kindly helped me at the gate. I didn't want to grab my sister's fiancé. Xiaoqing explained sincerely. I didn't think about it before, but now I think about it. It's okay if I don't have it. I don't want to see what I am like, and I want to grab young Master Pei. Li Suying snorted, looking at Xiaoqing's fat body with contempt. Xiaoqing hurriedly nodded, but murmured a little bit reluctantly, but, Auntie, can you let me see the baby? He is so young, he has never eaten mother's milk, so pitiful. Dreaming, you are not afraid that your dad will know? I am angry that you lost Lin's face when you were unmarried, so did you sweep you out? Li Suying lowered her voice vigilantly with threats and intimidation when she heard Xiaoqing tease child. Xiaoqing sneered in her heart, but asked innocently on her face, why did I lose the face of Lin's family when I became pregnant when I was unmarried, but my sister Xiaoran didn't get angry when I became pregnant when I was unmarried? Because you are so low. The cheap fat man is not worthy of Pei's family. Oh, I see, because sister Xiaoran is not the Lin family's biological lady. Before Li Suying finished speaking, Xiaoqing suddenly realized. Li Suying has been in the Lin family for 8 years, and she is most annoyed by others saying that her daughter is not the real daughter of the Lin family. When she first married, many people laughed at carrying oil bottles and said that Lin Xiaoran was a wild species whose father was unknown. It took a lot of effort for her to press down those gossips, and she worked hard to shape the illusion that Lin Xiaoran was the eldest Lin family at school, and even fabricated Lin Xiaoqing as an illegitimate daughter. So Li Suying is the most taboo of others saying that her daughter is not the Lin family's birth, but is a fake daughter. Now that Xiaoqing is so pierced and angry, he also wonders if what this fat man said is true, because Xiaoran is not Lin Kuovu's biological, so the unmarried child is not angry, and wants to use Xiaoran to follow the Pei family got married and completely forgot that all of this was the result of her own contribution. Auntie. Am I right? Xiaoqing asked kindly, looking at Li Suying's blue and white face. The furious Li Suying raised his hand to hit Xiaoqing. Xiaoqing stepped back in a panic, and slammed Wang Kui, who was barely climbing up, on his again. The painful wrist was just pressed against the mop. On the handle, there was a painful cry again. Do you still dare to hide? Li Suying became angry from embarrassment. Dad. One word, Li Suying turned her head in panic.